Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Rajiv Jain from Jivaji University Gwalior. Today we are going to discuss about a module Radio Analytical Methods under paper Fundamentals of Analytical Chemistry. In this module we shall study what are radioanalytical methods, what is radioactivity, what are radioisotopes. We shall study here the theoretical concept behind it and the instrumentation for measuring the radioactivity and also quantitative applications. All these things we shall learn in this module. Atoms with same number of protons but different number of neutrons are called isotopes. You already know what are isotopes. Atoms which contain same number of protons but different number of neutrons are called as isotopes. To identify an isotope, symbol E ZEA is used. E is element's atomic symbol as in the above case. E is the atomic symbol. Z is element's atomic number, and above in superscript is A is element's atomic mass number. Although isotopes of given elements have same chemical properties, their nuclear properties are different. Here, the radioanalytical techniques are based on the fact that their nuclear properties of isotopes are very different. Although isotopes given element have same chemical properties, but their nuclear properties are different. Most important difference between isotopes is their stability. The nuclear configuration of a stable isotope remains constant with time. Unstable isotopes, however, spontaneously disintegrate, emitting radioactive particles as they transform into a more stable form. The most important types of radioactive particles are alpha particles, beta particles, gamma rays, and X rays. An alpha particle, which is symbolized as alpha, is equivalent to a helium nucleus, 2He4. Thus, emission of an alpha particle results in a new isotope whose atomic number and atomic mass number are respectively 2 and 4 less than that for the unstable parent isotope. As for the case of uranium, when it loses one helium, as shown in following equation, when uranium loses alpha particle, uranium 238 is converted to thorium 234. So, and its atomic number as per helium 92 is reduced to 90 and alpha particle is evolved. Beta particles, beta come in two forms. A negatron minus 1 beta 0 is equivalent to an electron and is produced when a neutron is converted to a proton, increasing the atomic number by 1. As shown in the following equation, that lead 82 atomic number and atomic weight 214 is converted to atomic number 83, and bismuth is formed with atomic weight 214. That is increasing the atomic weight, that is increasing the atomic number by 1. Converting a proton to a neutron results in the emission of a positron 1 beta 0, that is phosphorus. 15 phosphorus atomic number with atomic weight 30 is converted with the emission of a 1 beta 0 positron. It forms silicon 14 with atomic weight 30. Emission of an alpha or beta particle often produces an isotope in an unstable high energy state. This excess energy is released as gamma ray or an X-ray. Gamma ray and X-ray emission may also occur without the release of alpha or beta particles. Although similar to chemical kinetic methods of analysis, radiochemical methods are best classified as nuclear kinetic methods. Theory: the rate of decay or activity for a radioactive isotope follows first order kinetics, where A is equal to minus dN upon dt is equal to gamma n, where A is the activity, n is the number of radioactive atoms present in the sample at time t, and gamma is the radioisotope's decay constant. Activity is given in units of disintegrations per unit time, which is equivalent to the number of atoms undergoing radioactive decay per unit time. As with any first order process, the above equation can be expressed in an integrated form as given in equation 2, while substituting equation 2 into equation 1 gives equation 3 as given below. By measuring the activity at time t, therefore, we can determine the initial activity E0 or the number of radioactive atoms originally present in the sample N0. An important characteristic property of a radioactive isotope is its half-life, that is T half, which is the amount of time required for half of the radioactive atoms to disintegrate. The first order kinetics is independent of concentration and is given as T half is equal to 0.693 upon lambda as shown in figure 4. Since the half-life is independent of the number of radioactive atoms, it remains constant throughout the decay process. Thus, 50% of the radioactive atoms disintegrate in one half-life, 75% in two half-lives, and 87.5% in three half-lives. Kinetic information about radioactive isotope is usually given in terms of the half-life because it provides a more intuitive sense of the isotope's stability. Knowing, for example, that the decay constant for strontium with atomic number 38 and atomic weight 90 is 0.0247 per year does not give an immediate sense of how fast it disintegrates. On the other hand, knowing that the half-life for strontium with atomic number 38 and atomic weight 90 is 28.1 years makes it clear that the concentration of 38 strontium with molecular weight 90 in a sample remains essentially constant over a short period of time. The instrument which is generally used in radioanalytical chemistry is used for the measurement of alpha and beta particles, gamma and X-rays using particles energy to produce electric current in the detector, or we can say alpha and beta particles, gamma and X-rays are measured using particles energy to produce electric current in detector. These pulses are counted to give rate of disintegration. In this, usually we study the rate of disintegration, how radioactive nuclide disintegrates. Three types of detectors commonly are encountered, which are shown in figure 1. These are gas field detectors, scintillation counters, and semiconductor detectors, which are shown in figure 2. Gas field detectors consist of a tube filled with an inert gas such as argon. When radioactive particles enter tube, they ionize inert gas, producing argon ion pairs. Argon electron ion pairs are produced. Movement of electrons toward an anode and argon positively charged toward cathode generate electric current. With the ionization, we obtain these particles and then they move towards anode and cathode. When they move toward them, then electric current is generated. Geiger counter, as shown in figure 3, is one example of gas field detector by which they are detected, as shown in the following figure. Having cathode and anode, movement of electrons takes place, movements of particles takes place, and that current generated is measured by Geiger count. By Geiger counter, their movement is measured. Quantitative applications. Three common quantitative applications of radiochemical methods of analysis are the direct analysis of radioactive isotopes by measuring their rate of disintegration, neutron activation, and the use of radioactive isotopes as tracers in isotope dilution. First, direct analysis of radioactive analytes. The concentration of a long-lived radioactive isotope is essentially constant during the period of analysis. As shown in the example, the sample's activity can be used to calculate the number of radioactive particles that are present. Activity in 10 ml sample of radioactive wastewater containing 38 strontium 90 was found to be 0.07 into 10 raised to power 6 disintegrations. So its molar concentration of strontium in the sample can be determined if half-life for strontium is given, and half-life for strontium given is 28.1 years. So substituting equation 4 into equation 1 and solving for n gives n is equal to a into t half upon 0.693. Before number of atoms of 38 strontium 90 can be determined, it is necessary to express activity and T half in same units. Converting T half for 38 strontium 90 to seconds gives T half as 8.86 into 10 raised to power 8 seconds. Substituting known values gives the number of atoms of strontium 3890 as n is equal to n.07 into 10 raised to power 6 disintegrations into 8.86 into 10 raised to power 8 second upon 0.693. It comes equal to 1.16 into 10 raised to power 16 atoms of 38 strontium 90. Thus, the concentration of 38 strontium 90 in the sample is 1.93 into 10 raised to power minus 6 molar strontium 38 and with atomic weight 90. Second is neutron activation analysis, and this is a very sensitive analysis, very important analysis. Few samples of interest are naturally radioactive. For many elements, however, radioactivity may be induced by irradiating the sample with neutrons in process called neutron activation analysis. Here means activity is introduced, radioactivity is induced. Radioactive element formed by neutron activation decays to a stable isotope by emitting gamma rays and, if necessary, other nuclear particles. And if necessary, other nuclear particles. The rate of gamma ray emission is proportional to the analyte's initial concentration in the sample. For example, when a sample containing non-radioactive 13 aluminum 27 is placed in a nuclear reactor and irradiated with neutrons, the following nuclear reaction takes place. So in figure 4, it has been shown it is neutron activation analysis how target is bombarded with neutron and what changes sequentially takes place in the target, and this is the basis of neutron activation analysis. Aluminum 13 after emitting a neutron is converted to aluminum 13 with atomic weight 28. The radioactive isotope of aluminum 1328 has a characteristic decay process that includes the release of beta particles and a gamma ray. 13 aluminum 28 is converted into silicon 28 14 plus minus 1 beta 0 plus gamma. When irradiation is complete, the sample is removed from the nuclear reactor, allowed to cool, while any short-lived interferences that might represent decay to the background and the rate of gamma ray emission is measured. The initial activity at the end of irradiation depends on the number of 13 aluminum 28 atoms that are present. Thus, in turn, is equal to the difference between the rate of formation for 13 aluminum 28 and its rate of disintegration as shown in following equation 5, where theta is the neutron flux and alpha is the reaction cross section of probability for the capture of a neutron by the 13 aluminum 27 nucleus. Integrating equation 5 over the time of irradiation Ti and multiplying by lambda gives the initial activity A0 at the end of irradiation as shown in the following figure. Thus, the number of atoms of 13 aluminum 27 initially present in the sample can be calculated from A0 while values for psi, sigma, lambda and chi are known. A simpler approach for analyzing neutron activation data is to use one or more external standards, letting A0x and A0x as represents the initial activity for the analyte in an unknown and a single external standard and letting W and WS represent the weight of analyte in the unknown and the external standard gives a pair of equations that can be solved to determine the mean of analyte in the sample as shown in the equations 6 and 7. Gamma ray emission is measured following a cooling period in which short-lived interferents are allowed to decay away. The initial activity, therefore, is determined by extrapolating a curve of activity versus time back to t is equal to 0 as shown in figure 5. Alternatively, if the samples and standards are irradiated simultaneously and the activities are measured at the same time, then these activities may be used in place of A0 and A0S in the preceding equations. In figure 5, it has been illustrated how gamma rays emissions occurs. It is a plot of gamma ray emission as a function of time showing how the analyte's initial activity is determined experimentally, how different changes takes place and its life is determined gamma rays experimentally. Next thing is isotope dilution, and it is the very important thing. Its application is large applications are there in each and every field in the carbon dating, determining the age of the different materials, all done by isotope. Isotope dilution. Another another important quantitative radiochemical method is isotope dilution. Sample of analyte called tracer is prepared in radioactive form with well-known activity. A measured mass of tracer WPE is added to sample containing an unknown WX of a non-radioactive analyte. Sample is processed to isolate WA grams of purified analyte. Activity of isolated sample AA is measured. If all analyte is recovered, then AA and AT will be equal. This is the figure of the isotope where isotope dilution can be studied. Normally, some of the analyte is lost during isolation and purification. In this case, capital A subscript A is less than 80 and AA as shown in equation 8 is equal to 80 in bracket WA upon WX plus WT. The ratios of weights in equation 8 accounts for the dilution of the activity due to a failure to recover all the analyte. Solving equation 8 for Wx takes the form as shown in equation 9. Equations 8 and 9 are only valid if the radioactive element in the tracer has a half-life that is considerably longer than the time needed to conduct the analysis. If this is not the case, then the decrease in activity is due to both effect of dilution and natural decrease in the isotope's activity. Some common radioactive isotopes for use in isotope dilution are listed in table 1. Some of the isotopes whose half-life is 3H, its half-life is 12.5 years. 14 carbon, its half-life is 5730 years. 32 phosphorus, its half-life is 14.3 days. Sulfur, 35 sulfur, its half-life is 87.1 days, and 45 calcium half-life is 152 days. Isotope dilution is useful for the analysis of samples which come with complex matrices when a complete recovery of the analysis is difficult. Characterization application. One example of a characterization application is the determination of sample's age based on the kinetics for the decay of a radioactive isotope present in the sample. The most common example is carbon 14 dating, which is used to determine the age of natural organic compound. As cosmic rays pass through the upper atmosphere, some of the 17 nitrogen 14 present is converted to 6C14 by the capture of high energy neutrons. The 6C14 then migrates into the lower atmosphere where it is oxidized to produce radioactive, which is subsequently incorporated into living organisms. As has been shown in figure 7, carbon 14 dating experiment, here it is shown clearly how carbon 14 is produced. Cosmic rays is coming collision with atmosphere, it forms C14 combines with oxygen to form carbon dioxide gas. As a result, all living plants and animals have approximately the same ratio of 6C14 to 6C12 in their tissues. When an organism dies, however, the radioactive decay of 6C14 to 7N14 by beta emission, half-life is 5730 years, resulted in a gradual reduction in the ratio of 6C14 to 6C12. The change in this ratio can be used to date samples that are as much as 30,000 years old, although the precision of this analysis is best within the when the sample is age when this sample's age is less than 7,000 years. The accuracy of carbon 14 data is limited by the assumption that the ratio of 6C14 to 6C12 has remained constant over a period of time. Some variation in the ratio has occurred as a result of the increased consumption of fossil fuel and the production of 6C14 during testing of nuclear weapons. Correction factors have been developed that increase the accuracy of carbon 14 dating. Other isotopes can be used to determine the age of samples. The age of rocks, for example, has been determined from the ratio of number of radioactive 92 uranium 238 atoms to the number of stable 82 lead 206 atoms produced by radioactive decay. For rocks that do not contain uranium, dating is accomplished by comparing the ratio of radioactive 19 potassium 40 to the stable 18 argon 40. Another example is the dating of sediments collected from lakes by measuring the amount of 82 lakh 210% or 210 present. Evaluation. Radiochemical methods are routinely used for the analysis of trace analytes in macro and mesosamples. The accuracy and precision of radiochemical analysis are generally within the range of 1 to 5%. Precision is limited by the random nature of radioactive decay and is improved by counting the emission of radioactive particles over as long as time as is practical. If the number of counts m is reasonably large, that is m is greater than 100 and the counting period is significantly less than the isotope's half-life, then the percent relative standard deviation for the activity is estimated as sigma A is equal to 1 upon 100 upon under root m. For example, when the activity is determined by counting 10,000 radioactive particles, the relative standard deviation is 1%. The analytical sensitivity of a radiochemical method is inversely proportional to the standard deviation of the measured activity and therefore is improved by increasing the number of particles that are counted. Selectively rarely is of concern with radiochemical methods because most samples contain only a single radioactive isotope. When several radioactive isotopes are present, differences in the energies of their respective radioactive particles can be used to determine each isotope's activity. In comparison with most other analytical techniques, radiochemical methods are usually more expensive and require more time to complete an analysis. Radiochemical methods also are subject to significant safety concerns due to the analyte's potential exposure to high energy radiation and the need to safely dispose of radioactive waste. Radioanalytical chemistry focuses on the analysis of samples for their radionuclide content. Radionuclide content, there are various methods. One of the most sensitive techniques in the hands of analytical chemists is neutron activation analysis. Here is one another technique by which we can find out the age of the given material. An exclusive technique is carbon dating. Then for isotope dilution, for different types of studying reaction mechanism, different types of problem solving, all can be done by taking different isotopes and by labeling that we can find out, analyze, find out the mechanism, all can be done. Various methods are employed to purify and identify the radio element of interest through chemical methods and sample measurement techniques. The importance of radioanalytical chemistry spans many fields, including chemistry, physics, medicine, pharmacology, biology, ecology, hydrology, forensic science, atmospheric science, health protection, archaeology, and engineering. Applications include forming and characterizing new elements, determining the age of materials, and creating radioactive reagents for specific tracer use in tissues and organs. The ongoing goal of radioanalytical research is to develop more radionuclides and lower concentrations in people and the environment. Thank you.